Hey. What's going on? Yes, it is, isn't it?
Hey, I'd like to give a praise report. I forgot to mention, John Wenner is home from the hospital.
John Wenner's home from the hospital. Yes. He's cancer-free. Beautiful. That's great. All right, lexophile is a word used to describe those that have a love for words, such as you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. You get that? Yeah. Thanks. To write with a broken pencil is pointless. When fish are in schools, they sometimes take debate. A thief who stole a calendar got 12 months. When the smog lifts in Los Angeles, you see L.A. Yeah, this is, Yeah. The batteries were given out free of charge. A dentist and a manicurist married. They fought tooth and nail. A will is a dead giveaway. You are laughing, You're participating. You're part of this thing here. With her marriage, she got a new name and address. When you've seen one shopping center, you've seen them all. Yeah. Police were summoned to a daycare center where a 3-year-old was resisting arrest. 3-year-olds do that, don't they? Let's see. Did you hear about the fellow whose entire left side was cut off? He's all right now. A bicycle can't stand alone. It's just too tired. When a clock is hungry, making weird sounds up here. Can you hear that, Jerry? I don't know what that is. When a clock is hungry, it goes back 4 seconds. The guy who fell into an upholstery machine is now fully recovered. We need to laugh, all right? He had a photographic memory which was never developed. When she saw her first strands of gray hair, she thought she'd die. Acupuncture is a jab well done, and that's the point of it. And very last one, and the cream of this twisted crop, those who get too big for their pants will be totally exposed in the end. All right, give yourselves a hand for laughing so good. Yeah. All right. Yes. All right. Well, it's so good to be here today. It's good to see y'all. Been having a good week myself. How many know that even when you have challenges, it's a good week? Right? Because you're alive to have those challenges. True? And we all have challenges. We all have things that we're dealing with. And it's so important that, we gather and we talk about how we can more practically apply these truth principles to our lives, because they make a difference. They heal us. They set us on the right path. They move us in the right direction. And then life changes and transforms into more of what it is supposed to be, right? I'm not saying that everything is going to be easy, that you're going to live on a flowery bed of ease all the time. But you can imagine yourself doing that, right? You can imagine yourself living in a more easy, graceful, peaceful state of being. And that's a wonderful thing. Right? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Well, we're talking about the power of imagination. Last week we talked about how that in Hebrews 11:1 it says that faith is the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things unseen. The evidence of things unseen. In other words, you can't see them, but you have evidence of them. And that is the idea of feeling. And see, we think that we create through our thought, and that is correct. But a deeper level of understanding creating with thought, is the idea of imagination. When you use your thoughts in an imaginative, creative sort of way, then you become that divine creator that you were meant to be. Right? Instead of allowing things to just be created by default. It's another one of those. All right? We can learn to be conscious creators. Ooh. But see, we talked about last week how it's so important not to bring in your perfectionism. Don't bring in your perfectionism. Because Salvador Dali said, have no fear of perfection, you'll never reach it. All right? Because people think of perfection in different ways. Some people think perfection is a certain way of being, a certain way of thinking, a certain way of acting. And there may be some truth to that, but how many understand that all of us have a different interpretation of perfection? Lee and I have a different interpretation of perfection when it comes to folding towels. I don't do it right. She does. Right? Right? Am I right? Exactly. So the way I do it, it looks good to me. I can reach and get it. But she has a different interpretation. Different. And how many know that that's all right? We got to get over this thing of that our way is the only way. The right way. I wish our politicians would get that. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. Amy Cuddy said, don't fake it till you make it. Fake it till you become it. Okay? It's the idea of becoming. Becoming. See, if you use your imagination, you can be at peace and go on vacation anytime you want to. Because a lot of people are working and they're stressing, thinking that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to stress all the time. And then finally they're going to go on vacation, and what happens, they usually get sick before they go on vacation. True? You ever done? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And what happens is we're stressing because we think that that's what we're supposed to do. No! We need a vacation every day. I like to take a vacation every hour. Right? And I take a vacation in my mind. I just... You know what I'm saying? And just let it all go, the stress. Let all of that tension just drain out of my body, down through my toes, down into the ground. Yeah. I don't have to fix the world. I don't have to fix anybody. I don't even have to fix me. Right? It's not about me fixing anything. It's just about me learning to be in a state of grace. Woohoo. Yeah, that's where I want to be. I want to be in that state where I can move with life and work with the circumstances and the situations that come up. Because how many understand that there's stuff that comes up all the time? There are people who don't think like you. I don't know if you noticed that. And they show up in your face and you go, hello. Where did you come from? Right? So what do you do with these people? Well, you have to learn a little, what is that? Tai Chi. Jiu-jitsu. Two-step. Yeah. Yeah, that works too sometimes. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Walk on by. Absolutely. But learning to be with life as it presents itself. Thomas Edison said, to invent, you need a good imagination and a pile of junk. That's what he said. So if you got the pile of junk, just add your imagination. What can you do with that? You ever watch the show about the pickers, where they go out and they pick through junk and they find things that are very valuable and worth lots of money? Isn't that interesting? How many understand that? I remember when I was a kid, I had a closet full of comic books, some of the original ones. And when I left home to go to college, I came back and I was looking for them. I said, Mom, what'd you do with my comic books? Oh, those old things, I just threw them away. Now how are we going to pay for college? You know what I mean? It's interesting, isn't it? Daydreams are fertile ground for the imagination to soar. As you sit absorbed in a problem, notice when you get lost in a daydream. What were you just thinking of? Your unconscious is a rich source of images, ideas, and experiences that lead you to new connections and fresh thinking. Linda Naiman. Yeah. Fresh thoughts. See, what you focus on, what you're meditating on all the time, what you're contemplating, what you're allowing to go through your mind is what your life is shaping up to be. You see? That's what it becomes, is what we imagine it to be, what we think it could be, how we think it could look. And see, our imagination gets down into the feeling of something. The feeling of it. You don't have to be perfect at it. You just have to do it. Right? You just have to enjoy the process. Because it's all about play. It's all about playfulness. J.K. Rowling said this. I was set free because my greatest fear had been realized. And I still had a daughter who I adored. And I had an old typewriter and a big idea. And so rock bottom became a solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. Isn't that amazing? She used her imagination. She sat in a coffee shop in London, broke, barely able to take care of herself. And she wrote about a little wizard boy that became a series of motion pictures. Now she's a gazillionaire, right?
No, she gave it away.
Did she give it away?
Yeah.
Okay. I think she still has some. You know what I'm saying? She used her imagination. See, how can you, this is a very practical thing. See, a lot of people think imagination is impractical. Tell that to Bill Gates. He swears that it was imagination, and they would get together and they would dream and they would think about, well, how could these computers work? What could they do? Software. And now everything has changed because of imagination, right? How can you apply imagination into your specific situation and circumstances, your career, your job? Maybe you're tired of your job. If you find yourself dreaming a lot about not being there, then guess what's going to happen? The door is going to open for you to bow out. Right? Because after a while, they'll say, oh, sorry, you get the pink slip laid off. And you say, well, why did I get laid off? Well, because in your mind, you didn't really want to be there. You see what I'm saying? See, because as what you focus on the inside of yourself, synchronistically, the universe begins to set up situations and circumstances to match your vibration, to match your energy, and begins to bring people around you that are of like mind, that are of like energy. You say, but I don't like the people around me. Oh, I see. Right? Something to think about. So imagination is valuable. It's important. Daydreaming. To do a little bit of that, right? Because your body doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. Because it's imagination that creates the reality. Right? Imagination. What kind of world do you want to live in? Begin to imagine a world that works for everybody. Right? A world where people get along. A world where people love each other. A world that is peaceful. And that you radiate that. See? You are a difference maker. You are a peace creator. Right? You are. You are a joy machine. Tell the person next to you, say, I'm a love machine. Yeah. That's right. Relationships. The reason they get stale is because you lose imagination. Sex without imagination is very dry. Right? Something to think about. In the sense of, it's important to be involved with whatever that you're doing. Right? If you're not in what you're doing, then what you're doing is empty. It's like, you ever sit down and eat a meal, and then when you're done, it's like, did I eat? No. I've had that experience. When I was a kid, I had a big family, We'd sit around the table, and my mother, she gave us two choices, always. Take it or leave it. Right? And so she'd fix the food, and it's like, you better eat when the food was there, or when you're done, it's gone. Right? And so you learn. And then sometimes you eat unconsciously. A lot of kids do this. Playing basketball, and I'd, just grab something and eat it, and then eat afterwards, and eat a little later, and eat before I went to bed, and then wake up in the middle of the night and eat again. You know what I mean? Because you're a growing boy. But then after you get to a certain age, you can't do that anymore. And you learn. Eventually. George Bernard Shaw said, imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire. You will what you imagine. And at last you create what you will. Ooh. We're talking about a conscious creator. If you're sick, imagine yourself what it feels like to be well. If you're broke, imagine yourself stable and blessed. You see what I'm saying? Whatever you begin to imagine will begin to draw to you the circumstances you need in order to become what you imagine yourself to be. I really want you to get this morning, because I think this is really powerful. It was so powerful to one of the founders, Charles Fillmore. He calls it one of the 12 powers of man. The power of imagination. You can be anything you want to be in your mind, in your heart. If you can dream it, right? If you can feel it and get it, yeah. But when you first start doing it, you think, oh man, I should be doing this. I should be just daydreaming. Why? That's not important. Yes, it is. That's what I want to get across this morning. It is important. You have a tough situation you don't know what to do about. Let it go. Focus on something else and just kind of open yourself up a little bit. And here's what I do sometimes. When I have something that I need to deal with, I'll just think about it for a moment. It's okay. And then I call forth, the help from the heavens, And then just let it all go. When I just imagine myself at peace. And then while I'm sitting there in that for just a few moments, pictures will start to come into my head. And feelings. And I'll think of a book that I have on my bookshelf. And I'll go and I'll look at that book and I'll open it up. And sometimes it falls right open to exactly what I need in that moment. You see what I'm saying? If you pay attention to your dreams, they will speak to you. Yeah. Recently, I had a dream about our community here. We've been wanting to add on to the back. We've been wanting to add on a wing for the children because there's just not enough room. I don't know if you've noticed that, but there isn't. And so one night I went to sleep and I had this dream, and I'm walking around this building. And in the dream, this person is telling me, oh, this is exactly what you need. This will take care of the problem. Oh, okay. And so I brought it back to the board, and I said, hey, what do you guys think of this? And they said, oh, that's an interesting idea. And so it's this idea of building a modular that we can set out there that's just for the children, that has all the classrooms in it, has a little kitchenette, has bathrooms, it has everything is all. And do you know that is less than half of what it costs to add on to the back of the building? Isn't that interesting? And so we're looking at that. We're looking at that. We're looking at redoing the parking, and expanding the parking because sometimes there just isn't enough room, And people park all kinds of ways and stuff. And so we want to set it up where it's neat and nice, where we can park and oh, well, this is where I'm supposed to park. You pull right. Oh, I'm lined up here. So the person next to me gets lined up too. And so I've been dreaming about this and been, seeing this and seeing how that we can do these things, And then ideas come. You see what I'm saying? Ideas come. And I want to invite you to do that in your life. What is it that you want? What is it that you need? When you imagine a certain thing day after day, gradually you start thinking about it most of the time. And this will drive you instinctively to search for information about it, become aware of opportunities concerning it, and become motivated to accomplish what you have imagined. Wow. You see how it works? It starts inside here. It starts as an idea. It starts as a feeling. It starts as a hunch. It starts as a gut, awareness. And oh, okay. Sometimes it's very subtle. There may be times in your life where you're not sure if you should go right or left. And so what you do, you get calm, you get clear, and you imagine yourself going right. And then you see how you feel if you go in that direction. And if you feel a sense of peace, clarity, then that's the right direction for you. But if you sense heaviness or confusion, then you may want to back off from that and consider the other path. You see what I'm saying? We need to learn to trust ourselves, trust our inner gut guidance, our divine guidance that we receive, from the divine that is within us. That's how the divine talks to us, is inside of us. And if we allow it, it can guide us to where we need to be in any given moment. You see what I'm saying? This works. I've seen it work for so many people. But you've got to trust it. Say with me, I trust myself. I trust my inner guidance. I'm always where I need to be. Yeah. See, say those kinds of things. Imagine that, yes, I am the kind of person that's always where I'm supposed to be. Right? Feel that. Embody that. Really get it. Make it a part of you. Instead of saying things like, oh, I'm just so confused. I never know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know. Am I supposed to do this? Am I supposed to do that? See, worry is imagination. Worry is using your imagination in a negative way. We can do that, can't we? I've done it myself. So use your imagination. Let it work for you. It's one of the 12 powers that you possess. Take advantage of it. It's free. Tell the person next to you, it's free. Absolutely. It's free. Let's close our eyes. Taking a deep breath. Can you imagine yourself sitting at the beach? And the sun is shining on your face and the waves are rolling in. Rolling in on your feet. It's like being there, isn't it? Wow. What a beautiful image to plant in my subconscious. There's a part of you that can always be on the beach at the ocean. You get that? There's a part of you that can always stand looking at the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains and feeling that awe, that sense of wonder. You don't even have to go there. You can in your imagination, you can see it and feel it. Wow. And by learning to use this power, it can change your life. And you can finally be more peaceful, more calm, more loving, and have more, really, what you want in life. It can happen. So we call in divine help for each and every one. We're surrounded with all the help that we need. Guiding us, leading us, talking to us, giving us dreams and visions, working with us. So in the name and nature of the beautiful Christ, and all that is sacred, amen, and so be it. All right.